This is the guided sinus lift kit from Bluesky. Essentially all it is, it's the same drills with that same guided sleeve, that guided shank portion, with the tip of the drill being this rounded cutting portion. And Bluesky calls them like neurosurgical burrs, because I guess that's probably maybe what the neurosurgeons use to like enter the skull just to break through. That's my guess. But they're supposed to be non-end cutting drills in the sense that it'll go through bone, but then it'll lift up your Schneiderian membrane. Pretty cool. Like my first time using it, I was like, I just didn't really understand the concept. But then once I figured it out, it's pretty intuitive. And so all the drills are the same diameter. They're 3.6 millimeters in diameter. So that means you're going to have to put in an implant bigger than 3.6. So you're not going to be using a 3.5 millimeter implant on a guided bump kit like this, right? So really the ideal in the Bluesky kit is like a 4.3. You know, if you're using these drills and you're popping through, a 4.3 implant just fits really nicely. But they've got, 2.5 to 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 11.5 in length. So the goal is, let's just say you measure and you've got 5 millimeters of vertical height, and you want to put in an 8 millimeter implant and just bump up the sinus a little bit. So what I would do is I would go in, put your guide on, start with just kind of your pilot and just kind of open things up a little bit, and then start with a short drill where you're going to be shy of the floor of the sinus. So start with your 4, drill to length, so hub it out, and now you've gone up 4 millimeters into bone. You haven't broken through yet. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go in with the next drill with your 5, and you're going to place it through your guide, and you're not going to turn it on. You're just going to push, and you're going to just be pushing up, and you're going to be like, okay, I'm hitting bone, right? Like I can't push up any with my next drill. So then you go, okay, I got a drill. So you take your 5 and you drill another millimeter, and then you hub it out on your guide. Then you move on to your 6 and you try to push. And so you're basically feeling, have I broken through yet? So what I found though is that you've got to kind of push hard, because the first time I did it, I pushed really lightly and it wasn't like going through. So I thought I just had to kept drilling, and not understand that when you have to push, you want to push, because if there's any sort of like kind of shards of bone up there, you want to be able to push through that and not have to like drill through that. So make sure you're just kind of pushing. If you're just getting resistance, you still haven't broken through yet. So then you take your next drill, your 6, and you drill and hub it out. And now, if you were to grab that 7, assuming you're close, you should be able to push through and be able to hub it out. That means you've broken through the bone, but then you haven't broken through, hopefully, the membrane. Hopefully. So that's how you enter through with these safe end cutting drills. So like here's an example. So this patient, this is the plan. It was an immediate implant on number 13, and then a guided bump on 14. Here's the cross section. So here's the ridge. It's probably like an 8 millimeter into this, going into the sinus. Here's the case. So here's our immediate into the socket. There's our lift, closure over, membrane over the socket. And then you can see the dome of the bone here. So this is like what you want to see is like the dome of that bone graft that's gone up. And you can see I'm probably about 3 millimeters up into the sinus. So that worked well. But you can see too, look at the big cyst that's up in the sinus here. And a lot of people have these things sitting up there, and most say that, hey, if it's not, clogging the entire sinus, you just, keep an eye on it. But it does make lifting easy too, because usually when those cysts are up there, it's really thick, I think.